Good evening, man. I'm back here fooling around with the tech. I didn't know you guys could see me, but can you see me and can you hear me, ladies? Let me know in the chat if you can see me and if you can hear me. All right. Yes. Awesome. I heard Virginia talking. I was like, why is she talking? Well, now I get it because I actually was up, but now we're streaming on all platforms. Come on in, ladies. Let me come on, turn on those cameras so I can see those beautiful faces. I'm going to give you all just a few minutes. Remember, we are family, but we are streaming. And I want to give all of you some shout outs this evening. So yes, let me see your beautiful faces. Wow, can you believe it? We are already in March, right? I mean, I'm like, what is going on? And I don't know about you, but we're here in the district. Well, I'm here in the Maryland area, and the weather, we've had sunshine, so I'm not mad about that either. So welcome. If there's any of you who are here for the first time in the chat, let me know. Just put first time. I want to give you a shout out. And also let me know who's in the house with me in the chat and where you hail from. So come on in. It's WealthyU Wind Down Wednesday. Yeah, come on in. We're going to talk about some wealth. I'm going to chat a little bit about the topic, but hey, you know what? Let's go off script a little bit. Like, we're going to do I want to address the topics that are top of mind on all of your minds this evening as well. So in the chat, if you have like a burning question about any topic relating to finances, ladies, I do not do relationships. So if that's what's top of mind, I am not your girl. You got plenty of folks out there who are relationship coaches, and I would not be one of them. But really, I know that there is a lot going on in the economy. I know that it has been volatile. The markets have been quite volatile. I know that interest rates are popped up a little bit again. So for those of you who are looking at making an investment in real estate or something of that sort, that could be top of mind. I know that at the Supreme Court today, they were arguing on the case for the student loan forgiveness that Biden has his executive order to forgive, I forget the amount, $20,000 and $10,000, depending upon where, how much income you earn. I know that is certainly on the minds of people. We will see how that comes up. You know, I don't do politics either, just so you know. That just happens to have a finance politics angle to it. So, of course, I want to weigh in on that as well. Good evening. Let's see who is in the house. Hello, Joanne Jones from Florida. It's good to see your beautiful face. See, Joanne has her camera on. Come on, ladies. Let's turn these cameras on. Thank you, Rachel, with your cute little self. I see you. Who else? Come on now. Who else is out there? Nellie Moore, welcome. It's good to see you. She's got her camera on. I see we have many WealthyU members in the house. I see Marriott Morgan. Who else is hanging out with me? Oh, it's good to see you, Carolyn Powell. Welcome to WealthyU. Love to see you. Karen Parham, good to see you as well. See, y'all can't hide on me. I love seeing your beautiful faces. Nellie from Hyde Park, Linda from Detroit. Linda, I'm sorry, girl. You know I'm calling on you tonight because you got a WealthyU win that we need to be double clicking on, so folks can know some of the exciting financial, what do I want to call them, milestones overcoming some of the challenges are. And I don't know about you, but I get so inspired by hearing the accolades and the accomplishments of others. Are you guys like that? Like when you hear about somebody having a big win, I'm like, yes, yes. And you know why I say that? Because if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. Are y'all with me? That's why it's important to be in the right circle and to, not feel envious. Now, before I get into that, so let me let y'all come on in. Let me say hello, and let me first state that this is WealthyU Wind Down Wednesday. I'm Deborah Owens, founder and CEO of WealthyU, where we teach you how to build your investment portfolio to 7 figures and beyond. And our mission is to help 1 million women get to $1 million in investable assets. And why is that important? Because when you get to that level, you become an accredited investor, and then the world of investments and strategies and opportunities open up for you. But here's what I want you to know. It's not the money, it's the mission. Because the goal of you becoming knowledgeable, having investable assets of $1 million or more, is that in order to get there, what do you think you need to get to 7 figures and beyond? What is the hurdle that has been preventing you from achieving that milestone? What do you think it is? In the chat. What do you think prevents you from going to 7 figures and beyond? The right mindset. That's right, Tamiko. That's right. Mindset, strategy, and execution. But the biggest, there are 2 things. There are 2 things. Knowledge and access to apply that knowledge, right? Knowledge and access to apply that knowledge. That is the topic this evening that I'm going to get to in a minute. And that is insider secrets. I interviewed a fascinating gentleman on Get Wealthy. Jim Castleberry has managed mega millions, billions of dollars, the MacArthur Foundation. And if you haven't seen Get Wealthy, you need to make sure that you tune in to this week's episode, because he talks about his own life and how he got access and became an insider himself. And it is interesting because he did come from a family who would be considered high net worth. But what he realized as he kind of got out of his little bubble was that, they had achieved a level of financial success, but not nearly what they could have had they had access to that knowledge. If you haven't seen this week's episode, Virginia, I'm gonna throw you a curveball, but if you could put the Linktree link in the chat so that folks know how to get to everything that we do here in WealthyU. So good evening, everybody. Good evening. Let me begin by, this is WealthyU Wind Down Wednesday. And so, of course, I want, if you have your adult beverage of choice, whether it be water or, I don't know, a martini, but it's WealthyU Wind Down. I'm drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon from one of the, the places near Napa. This is Pablo Robles, and it is by Austin, and it is a really, really nice mellow wine if you like a Cabernet. So a toast to you guys. And now let's get into it, ladies. Let's get into it. So in the chat, though, if you have a topic or something burning on your mind, questions that you feel like you want to address, please, please, please put it in the chat. Stephanie, oh, but wait a minute, before we go any further, I have to give one of our WealthyU members, Stephanie Rousseau, a shout out. Now listen, me and my last minute self giving my husband a little last minute surprise birthday party. The thing is, we are going to celebrate his birthday, a really big milestone in someone's life. My husband turned 65 this year. And by the way, he's over here looking at me. He was on Good Morning America today, guys. Good Morning America being featured. Really, people often ask me, well, how did you and Terry meet? When did you and Terry meet? Well, honey, let me just tell you something about Mr. Owens. I'm out at little happy hour with my sister at the club, right? Sitting at the bar, having a little drinky drink. And this nice little gentleman walks up in his little Brooks Brothers suit and Johnston and Murphy. Yeah, I'm telling on him. Johnston and Murphy shoes with this nice little smile. Would you like to dance? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, with your nice little smile. So we danced and we danced and we danced all night. And one of the things you guys should know about me and Mr. Owens, we love to dance. In fact, on our 15th wedding anniversary, we got dancing lessons. So, we could shake a little leg. You know how you go on those cruises and you see people doing all that ballroom stuff and you be like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I was like, I'm going to learn how to do that. So, we learned a few moves, a little salsa, a little ballroom. But anyhow, I digress, because when little Mr. Owens asked me, did I want to dance? And then, we took a break for a minute. He was like, don't you know who I am? And I was like, no. I'm Terry Owens. I'm on Big City News. I was like, okay. But all I knew about WGPR Channel 62 Detroit, honey, was the scene, girl, where they was bugging. We be jamming just like on Soul Train. You know what I'm saying? Is that my girl Cindy? She know, because that's when I met her, because her boyfriend at the time was one of my husband's best friends. So long story short, what we are so grateful for is that the president of the WGPR museum, which was profiled on Good Morning America, which is where Terry got his start, where Sean Robinson from Entertainment Tonight, and now I think she's on 90 Day Fiance. That's where she got her start. I even had me a little segment called Investment Concepts. Cindy, you remember that back in the day? I hope don't nobody ever find that tape, because Lord knows it. It probably was looking sad. But anyhow, one of the if you see this segment in honor of Black History Month, it aired yesterday. It really talks about how the first Black owned and operated television station hailed from Detroit, Michigan, and what that Dr. Banks, who was the founder, one of the co-founders of WGPR, one of the points that he makes in that segment is that the reason it was so important for to have a Black television station telling our stories, because we were the ones that needed to be telling it. And in fact, another one of Terry's long-term colleagues from a Black journalist. We were very, very active in the National Association of Black Journalists. Denise James was actually featured in that program. And the highest ranking African-American executive at ESPN got his start at that station. And so, when you talk about access, right? So, let's just go back to the start of the conversation tonight, where I was talking about that it's not just now knowledge, right? You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have access to the kinds of tools, resources, or opportunities that are going to allow you to execute on that knowledge, you don't get an opportunity to go through that door, right? So the reason why I'm so proud of the fact that WGPR Channel 62 was featured, not only were they featured on Good Morning America, they were actually featured also on Nightline. And from what I understand, my good girlfriend Cindy can tell me that many of the stations in Detroit covered that and had hour-long specials. And the reason that I'm also excited, because the president of that museum, Joseph Spencer, he also owns, if you're ever in Detroit, he also owns Louisiana's Creole Gumbo, was such a great mentor to Terry, is one of the reasons that Terry wanted to be behind the scenes, but Joe said, "Nah, brother, you need to be in front of that camera." And the rest is history. And he's been such a mentor to not only Terry, but to myself. And, through the years, every time we go to Detroit, we see our family, but one of the first places we go, Louisiana Creole Gumbo, where's Joe? That's where we go. And he's been I don't know how to explain it, so kind of a soft spoken man, but just a big presence, right? Have you ever been around someone who's soft-spoken, but just has a big presence and big intellect, and has done so much for so many people in Detroit to make an impact? So I just had to give hubby a little shout out. Okay. So tonight, what are we talking about? Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was something that we covered on Get Wealthy this week. And you're going to hear me talking a lot about the secrets of the 1%. And the fact that I didn't know it at the time, but so much of the knowledge that I am conveying to you now, some of you may not know who I am. So let me just give y'all a little background. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, right? So I started my career actually with Merrill Lynch, went on to Fidelity Investments, where it was there that I really learned about high net worth and what it means to have access. The difference to what working people and wealthy people, right? And there is a difference. The difference between the middle class and the high net worth class, the affluent, right? The ultra wealthy. And so as I went up in my career, starting in Dearborn, Michigan, right outside of Detroit, Ford headquarters, we had a Fidelity Investments office there. And then we moved out to Southfield, Michigan. Well, long story short, I ended up being recruited into management, and then actually going to the West Coast, which was my assignment after I got out of management training, and then was promoted into regional marketing manager, vice president, branch manager, which is where I got exposed to our high net worth people. In fact, this is a funny story, but I want to tell this story right now only because so often we allow what could be setbacks, right? Or just, I'm gonna be honest with you, just downright failures impact us. So I get to San Francisco, and I, first of all, I'm taken aback. San Francisco, 5th largest market. Terry leaves WGPR. So this is a good story because I'm going to tie it together, right? So I get assigned in San Francisco. Terry at the time had he left WGPR. He started working at a station in Flint, and then he went behind the scenes and worked at WXYZ ABC, which was the top local station. It was an O&O, or owned and operated ABC station in Detroit, right? So Terry's working there. And then I get this opportunity. I go into management training, and I go into management training, and they send me away to Boston for a few months. And after you go into management training and they condition you, and I mean literally condition you, you have to be prepared to be assigned anywhere. And so we're waiting on our assignment. Oh, and by the way, I have a young son by this time, right? So at any rate, so my assignment is San Francisco. It's like, woo, San Francisco. Let me tell you, honey, I was like, hallelujah, because I had lived in Hawaii. I couldn't wait to get back to the West Coast. But anyhow, so we land in San Francisco. I have the opportunity to be an assistant manager and go through my management training with a gentleman who at the time was one of the top performing branch manager, vice presidents in the country. And they called him Superman, right? So I'd never met this gentleman in person. All I knew was that David was called Superman. And before I wanted to make sure I looked right. That first day that I went in and I made an impression and that I made an impact. Because the other thing I didn't say, I was the only Black person in management training, right? So anyhow, the first day I go in here, I'm saying, oh my gosh, these people, they're going to be so much smarter than me. They're going to be, so much brighter. They're going to know more than me. They're going to be much more sophisticated. I'm coming from Detroit, the Midwest. This is San Francisco. These are all the things. Can you guys relate to that? Like, you're going into a new situation. You have all these things going in your head, and you have literally created an outcome, a situation that may not be anywhere near the truth, but in your head, this is real. This is happening, right? So I get up at that morning, and we're staying at a highfalutin hotel in San Francisco until our corporate quarters are housing already. So I walk into that office that day, and I can't wait to meet Superman. Well, I get in this office, and I'm going to tell you, it was the most eclectic bunch of people I had ever met in my life. They were willing and dealing. Don't get me wrong. I saw why they were successful. And then Superman comes out of his office to greet me. And I'm thinking this, dude was like bravado was going to be, I'm thinking this, I don't know, Burt Land, I don't know, a big star, this dude's gonna walk out. He was tall, but he was like, hello, Deborah, welcome to San Francisco. We are so excited to have you. And I'm like, this is Superman. What's going on? This man was like Clark Kent. I mean, just smooth, quiet spoken. But I mean, every day from the time that I got there, I saw why he was so successful. And that is because he could see whatever your gift was, and he could help you bring that gift out so that you could accomplish the objectives of whatever the organization's objectives are. I mean, that is what a true leader does. So he doesn't need a bunch of cookie cutter things. He's going to basically figure out what's important to you and then tell you, based on what's important to you, how you can accomplish that goal based on accomplishing the company's goal. And let me just share with you how I learned this. So there was a gentleman in that office, and he was literally the top salesman in the country, okay? But like 3 days after I'm there, the dude doesn't show up for work for like 2 days. And I'm like, this is weird, right? Everything's going on as usual. I'm the little assistant branch manager. I want to check all the boxes, make sure everybody's in the right place. So anyway, so it's Thursday, Friday, dude doesn't show up. Monday, the dude shows up, marches into David's office. He's there for about an hour and a half, a long time. Then he comes out of the office, boom, he's back on the phone, he's making it happen. And so I'm like, wow, I wonder what the conversation was. So anyhow, I go into the office. I go into David's office. What's going on? You didn't fire him? And he was like, no. He said, I just reminded him. I said, you reminded him of what? He said, I reminded him of what he said he wanted to accomplish. And then he gave me a little background on this gentleman and the fact that he had some challenges and that, you know, in his home life, and that he's been trying to work through it. And he says, and by the way, I don't know if you observed, but the same thing that I reminded him of was the same thing that I learned from you. And I was like, really? He was like, well, you remember first day you came in, we went out to lunch and I asked you a little bit about what your goals and objective was and what you wanted to accomplish, and about your family and about your husband and what everything that you wanted, and you know what your fears were about coming to this place and leaving your family and having your young child. And you told me exactly what you wanted, and I shared with you that that's what I'm going to help you do. And that's exactly what that man did. We wanted a house in one of the most expensive areas of California. We literally ended up moving in the same subdivision that he lived in, helped me negotiate those closing costs with the firm. I mean, Okay, so I'm really getting to this story. I know I kind of went off base, but I wanted you to understand who this person was, right? So I get to California. We are given one of our biggest events with our portfolio managers for our high net worth clients. I told y'all I would bring it together, right? Okay, for our high net worth clients. Thank you. Context is key. Okay, so I am charged with giving this presentation on retirement plans, self-employed retirement plans, actually. And I practiced and I rehearsed, and I knew everything that I was going to say. And then we walk into this room and there are like 300 clients. I mean, we have laid it out. I mean, they got everything that they could think about. When the wine is flowing, there's shrimp, there are hors d'oeuvres, you know, everything for our high net worth clients, anything that they could desire, because we've got to wine and dine these clients. These are potential clients and existing clients, right? So we want to bring in new customers and we want to retain our existing clients. So I get up on the stage, I introduce myself, I welcome everyone into this event. And then I literally, the words wouldn't come out. I was so nervous. I stumbled. I was like, oh my God. I was like, ugh. You know, I don't know how long it was that I was up there. I don't know if it was 10 minutes. I don't know if it was an hour, but all I know is I wanted to get off of that stage. I bolted off of that stage. And David met me before I could get to the ladies' room. And he looked at me and said, Deborah, you were great. And I looked at him like, David, you are crazy, right? So I went into the restroom and I composed myself. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you were not great, but you're going to be great. And so after that, every presentation that we did in that office, whether it was a seminar or a workshop, I did it. I presented. I took a Dale Carnegie public speaking course. And the next time we gave a presentation that we did an event, I was great. And so I say all that to tell you two things, right? And that is, with the right accountability and the right support, you can accomplish anything. You guys understand that? Now think about this. So here we are. Okay, now that was my first big public speaking event. So from there, when I left Fidelity, my first client was the National Associations of Securities Dealers, which is now known as FINRA, the regulatory agency for the investment industry. Went on tour with them, went all over the country speaking and doing financial literacy webinars for them. Next thing I know, phone's ringing. Cheryl Martin from BET News says, oh, Bishop Jakes, I told Bishop Jakes about you. He wants you to be his personal finance expert. So then I tour around with God's Leading Ladies with Bishop T.D. Jakes, right? Then I'm one of my organizations that I was big in for financial literacy was the American Savings Education Council. And then I met a lot of people and started doing wealth building seminars for them. And so what's really interesting, and then, State Farm, Allstate, all of these financial services came a calling what are now known as influencers. Now, I was a brand ambassador back in the day, and I say all of that to help you all understand is that's where I got my first access, right? That was my first exposure to high net worth clients. And what I learned is that they get access to information that most of us don't, right? And so when I talk about the insider secrets of the 1%, that's exactly what that is, the origin of it. That's what I want you to understand. What I learned after being with Merrill Lynch and spending years with Fidelity and then going on with some other very large financial services companies in different roles is that wealthy people do almost the opposite of what we're told to do. In the chat, agree or disagree with me? Okay. And what I began to understand was that while we were given the blueprint, the financial blueprint for us, and certainly it was for me too, was to get all of this education, to have this career. And I was on that track, y'all, right? I was on that track. Fast trajectory at Fidelity, going into management, earning more income, certainly some great benefits. But what the wealthy understood was it wasn't about earning the income. I want you guys to get this. It was about turning that income into wealth. So while we were buying our first homes and then, we take that equity and then we buy a bigger home because we were told, if you agree with me now, y'all, I need y'all to agree with you. We were told to, stair step it and get a bigger home. And then that was going to grow. And that's how we were going to build wealth. Whereas what the wealthy are told is they actually look at that first house like Monopoly as their first investment property. And then they go from, they're not selling this house and the equity to go in a bigger house. They're basically taking that first house, allowing it to build equity, taking the equity out, buying the next house, but that first house is an asset. Is this making sense to you guys? Whereas we were, I'll never forget this. When we built our second home, a gentleman came in, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of work he was doing in the house. He may have been painting, he may have been doing something. And under his breath, what he said to me, and I didn't quite get it. He said, yeah, Lincoln freed the slaves and gave them all mortgages. That's deep, right? So who gets the significance of that? What was he trying to convey to me? What was he trying to convey to me with that comment? Tamiko says that's absolutely correct. They use that first house as an asset, get a vacay home or the second home, right? And then they, with that vacay home, they're renting it out most of the time. And that vacation property rental is paying for the house, right? Virginia said, still in bondage. Carolyn says, wow, we're still in bondage. Okay, mortgage and slavery too. So here's all I want to say. Here's all I want to say on that. You're absolutely correct. You know, is this conversation good with y'all? I just want you to understand that the reason we have these kind of conversations with WealthyU is because I'm trying to deprogram y'all. Are you getting this? Like, I really am trying to deprogram you because we were given the wrong blueprint. In the chat, we got the wrong blueprint. You got the wrong blueprint. So what I want you to understand is the reason that it's difficult to reach 7 figures and beyond is because the knowledge and the access, the knowledge, right? And the access to the instruments that are going to get us beyond that, we didn't have access to. Lamerle says, on purpose, keep us as consumers. We got the wrong blueprint. We got the wrong blueprint. So I just, you know, here's where I'm going. So that's what I mean, the insider secrets. What I saw was, even when I started out, I mean, if I had been observant and if I had understood, even as a receptionist at Merrill Lynch, where I got my start, I would have been able to recognize that even within the people that came into the investment company, the middle class folks got one message and the wealthy people got another. Are you with me? I mean, it's just like at what I saw when I was with Fidelity, when we had these big events and we brought the portfolio managers in, the conversations that they were having with them were about charitable trust, right? Some of the private trusts that you could get involved in, but you had to be a certain level in terms of net worth, accredited investable assets. Different conversation for different levels, right? Like, all I want you all to understand is there are levels to this. In the chat, put me their levels. I want you to understand there are levels to this, right? And so the first level that we're having a conversation about in WealthyU is shifting the mindset from an income to a wealth mindset, right? Because every day you're turning on the channel. Okay. So here's what I want to say. I have to go down this street tonight. Listen, some of y'all are just getting bad information, just bad information. You got people who claim to be financial experts or whatever, who are telling you, you know, don't invest in your 401k, or, you know, I don't know what these people are saying, or, you know, you can have a lifestyle business and you'll only have to work 15 hours a week. Listen, get thee beneath Satan. No. You work at a certain level, and at a certain level, when you get enough capital, that capital works for you. Do you hear me? I had a conversation this week, and I was just like, really? You've been in the game 2 years and you're out here telling people this nonsense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, be careful of the information that you're getting. That's the point I want to make. The information, if people are giving out free information and all they're talking about what they have, and they have no receipts. Are y'all with me? No receipts. They're showing you their little Tesla, there this, there that, their house, there this airplane, they here, they there, they on the beach, they taking, who got time to take all the pictures? That's what I want to know. How is anything being done? How are you creating value? By me just looking at you? So, I'm sorry I went on this tangent, but I needed to, because here's what I know to be true. If I want to get into the stats, the fact is that we're going into these higher risk types of investments like Forex, like crypto, like all, silver and gold. And now I have, I've been watching this crap my entire career, 30 years of people. We want to get rich quick, and get rich anything quick is an oxymoron. I want you guys to understand that. We need a new blueprint. We need the blueprint that the wealthy have that has allowed them to be that top 1%. You guys understand what I'm saying? And so to that end, deprogramming at the very base level is that you've got to turn a portion of your income into assets. That's number one. Okay. Number two, right? So not things, but assets. In the chat. So what are assets? Okay. What are assets? If we're going to turn our income into assets, what are they? Right? What are they? Stocks, right? Mutual funds. And not just any stocks. Stocks that pay dividends. Real estate. Bonds. That's right, Tamiko. Chantel says anything you can liquidate, yes, but anything that makes more than what you put in it. You guys getting this? We put our income into assets that are either going to pay us dividends, because that's one of the other, that's what the group, our group in our Legacy Wealth Accelerator group is learning about. Tax advantage strategies. So here's all I want to tell you guys. Here's what I learned. Talk about going on the, that's right, tax advantage strategies, right? Is that the wealthy make decisions based on the long-term when it comes to their money, the long-term outcome of the transaction. Are y'all with me? So which side of the ledger am I on? Okay, if I spend the dollar on something, is it going to make more dollars? I mean, it really is that simple, okay? Or if I spend the money on something, is it going to depreciate in value? I'll never forget being at this event and a young woman saying, well, my grandfather, he taught me everything that I needed to know about money. I forget what her name was, but she said, and she worked for her claim to fame was that she had worked for one of the founders of, it wasn't CNN, it was another cable network. But at any rate, the point that she made, she says, my grandfather always told me this. He said, before you spend $1, you have to make 3 more with it. Now imagine if that one little bit of advice, if you practice that advice, how much further would you guys be? No, it wasn't Bloomberg. It was what is his name? Barry Diller. So whatever network Barry Diller established, that who she worked with. Okay. So, but the point I want to make is that imagine if before you spent $1, you made $3 more with it. How much further would you be in terms of, yeah, it is a paradigm shift, Frida, because if you think a little further about it, one of the things that you recognize is that when I talk about the difference between a poverty mindset and a wealth mindset, so I want you to think about that, because really that's the core of it, is poverty mindset thinks and manages their money. And let me see if anybody in the group right now knows it. Thinks and manage their money what? How do they make decisions around their money? If you have a poverty mindset, what is the time frame? Come on, you guys should know this. Come on now, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, but not too much longer. Day to day. That's right, Virginia. People with a poor mindset, they can manage their money what? And this is the major shift. This is the difference between how wealthy people, no, week to week. That's right, Stephanie. Think and manage their money. If middle class, think and manage their money what? Month to month. It's how we're sold things. Car, house, how much we can afford. Affluent, year to year. Have a budget, understands their cash flows, have allocated. Rich, decade to decade, but wealthy, generation to generation. And so the point that I want to make, that the secrets of the inside secrets of the 1% is simply that they're making their decisions based on the long-term implication. And the fact is that we have been trained, right? We have been trained to earn and spend, earn and spend. And so when you earn and spend, you never allow the money that you earn to make more money. Okay. So what if you earned it, let it made more money, and spent off of the crop as opposed to the seed? You guys getting this? Right? So that's the point I want to make. And then, but not only, and this is where the high net worth and the ultra wealthy get it, is one of the things that they're very, very careful of, or strategic about, I should say, is that it's tax efficient, right? They use the tax law properly. The way our tax law is structured, okay, it incentivizes certain behavior. I want you guys to get this, right? So if you think about it, that is the arm that the government has in terms of how it distributes resources. So its income is taxes, right? That's how it gets the money to do all of the things that it does, the, Social Security, Medicaid, transportation, all these different things. But what the tax law itself says is that if you do these certain things, we're going to tax you less, okay? So the first thing that it incentivizes entrepreneurship. And so you pay less if you're a corporation or you're an LLC or whatever, right? It also allows you to deduct any expenses that you use, that you occur, any expenses that occur based on you generating that business revenue, right? And so, but if you earn an income, you don't get to deduct any expenses now, right? You used to. I mean, you do have some deductions, but the point I want to make is that within our tax law, there's certain things that are incentivized. Going back to the buying the first home and allowing that to be the first investment, what else is incentivized? Real estate. You get to depreciate and offset expenses based on real estate ownership. So here's all I'm saying, ladies. and gentlemen, if you're listening, is that we need a new blueprint. And that is the blueprint that we teach in WealthyU, is how to turn your income into wealth so that you get to the point that your wealth is creating the income and you're not working for. So a couple of things. Coming up, I want to make sure that you attend. How many of you have attended our challenges? How many of you, better question is, how many of you haven't attended our challenges? Our next 5-day Get Wealthy Challenge is coming up on March 20th. And Virginia, if you could put, and any other ambassadors, if you could put the link to the Get Wealthy Challenge, I want to make sure that you join, because for 5 days, I go deep, deep, deep into these concepts, right? I also want to encourage you to, if you've been hearing about WealthyU and you want to learn more about WealthyU, apply to our program. So in the link, put the WealthyU apply link in the chat. And here's why this is important. Because we have programs that meet you wherever you are. If you're running for your first 6 figures and you know you need a jump start, but you don't know where to start, if you've been saving and you're wondering why aren't you further ahead, that program is designed for you. So you're running for your first 6 figures. But some of you would already be at 7 figures. If you feel like, man, I've had all this money run through my hands, I know I need to be further ahead, then we have another program. It's our flagship program. It's our WealthyU Society program, and everybody's running for 7 there. And the cool thing is people, are literally applying the knowledge and almost doubling in a couple of years what it took them to do in 2 decades. And then we have our Legacy Wealth Accelerator. And that's for those who, hey, you're at multiple 6 figures. You know you're paying too much in taxes. You're trying to figure out, I need to know these high net worth strategies, tax advantage strategies that Deborah are talking about. Then you probably fit into our Legacy Wealth Accelerator. How will you know that? All you have to do is apply to our WealthyU programs, and we will put you in the right program that is a good fit for you. And the other thing that I'm excited about is for those of you who have already applied, you're like, I already applied, but I didn't join. Well, guess what? One of the things we have coming up is an open house, a sneak peek, depending upon what program you apply to and that you qualify to go into. We're going to open up the, what do they call that when they open up the hood and let you look inside, right, of the new car? Well, that's what we're going to be doing in WealthyU. So if you want to make sure you get into what we're into and that you're able to be invited to one of our sneak peek and open houses, make sure that you apply, and you will get an invitation based on the program that you qualify for. Now, I don't know, is Linda Fagan's, I wanted to get, you know what, I stopped. I got to give a shout out though. Stephanie Russo, if you have not had one of her pound cakes, Stephanie, girl, let me tell you, honey, I want you to unmute, because I have to give you a public thank you. I just asked you to unmute, if you could unmute Stephanie. Now, Stephanie is the founder of, I'm gonna put her on spotlight. She didn't even know. Stephanie, honey, your cake, oh my gosh. I don't know why you can't unmute yourself, but I wanted folks, that's okay, Steph. I wanted folks to know that your cakes were such a hit. Oh my gosh. I
I'm
had
here.
people at this. Oh, there you are. I had
Yeah.
people at this party, Stephanie, talking about, I'm just going to have a little piece or I'm going to share a piece with, honey. I looked up, them people had multiple pieces of cake. And I wanted to just tell you how grateful I am that cake got there on time, before time. My little neighbors, my husband, he looking out the window. What is that? What's delivered? I'm like, it's a gift, right? But we had a wonderful party, and I just wanted to personally thank you for the cakes are delicious. And in fact, the first thing Terry said when he tasted your cake was, "Deb, this is just like Aunt Maggie." My Aunt Maggie, honey, bless her heart, she passed away. It's been over a year now, but she lived to be, I want to say, 98 years old. And your cakes are just like my Aunt Maggie. So,
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And that's what we get a lot is people say it reminds them of a cherished memory or a loved one who's no longer here.
yes. So if you guys haven't checked out Delicious, just tell them where they can go, Stephanie, and order one of your fabulous cakes. She ships it right to the door.
I'm going to put it in the chat.
Outstanding. So look for that. If you have an event coming on up and you want it to be a hit, I'm telling you, those cakes were on point. And lastly, I know we're right at the top of the hour, but is Linda Fagans here, my good girlfriend from Detroit? Is she still on? Well, she's not, but I'm gonna let her share her story with you next week. But she just got some great news. We have some amazing things happening in WealthyU around student loan forgiveness in women. Oh, there you are. You're here, but it will not allow you to unmute. Okay, wait a minute, because I need for y'all to be lifted up. There you are. Okay, so you can unmute, Linda.
Okay, great. First of all, I want to thank you, Deborah, and the team for the information, And then, as you say, execution is important, because I was going to say, no, it's going to be too late. They're not going to.
I remember you telling me, Linda, when we chatted, oh no, it's been so long. They're not going to forgive my loans, right? And right. Then what did you do? Just share with the ladies what you did.
Okay, learned the information. I contacted Dr. Tisha Silva Kennedy.
That's right.
And she, I said, I want to apply for this. And I explained my situation. And I had a consultation with her. She gave me some instructions to do. I followed what she told me to do. And she was online with me filling out my application. And see, what's so important about that is about information, you take the action, because we had a little deadline almost. And first of all, my loan was a type of loan that you had to convert first before you can even apply for the forgiveness. And I have been reluctant to convert, because people say when you convert, they're going to change your price and jack it up and all this. So Dr. Kennedy assured me, you need to do this way. So I followed her instructions. She got online with me. She said, do this. Boys, we were through that app. First, we had to get the conversion right and do that. Once that went through, then she came back and we filled out the application for the forgiveness. And she told me step by step. So I followed her instructions. First of all, she told me, Linda, you might get a letter saying they rejected you. I was saying, oh boy. So I got that letter, rejected me. And when I got the letter, I said, oh my God, they act like I hadn't done anything. But she warned me. She says, they're going to tell you that, but you're going to get a second letter and let me know about the second letter. So about 3 months later, I got the second letter and they said they forgave me of $67,000.
$67,000.
Wiped it out.
Linda.
Yes.
Now just tell me, did you run around the house?
Yes, I did. I was saying, thank you, Jesus, jumping up and down. and it goes to say that's why we, as you say, we can't let setbacks in our mindsets hold us back. go for it anyway sometimes. And so, and then we thank you for good sources. And, you gave, she was just excellent in terms of walking me through that. She was, she was online with me filling out the application. Push this. Some didn't go right. No, push this. Don't worry about this. And she had that system down. That's one thing I'm talking about, her expertise. I say, and so forth. I was saying, oh, look at this application. We're going to be on here for 2 or 3 hours. It was excellent.
So all I'm going to say, Linda, is I am grateful that you followed through. Like, many of you are sitting 10 feet away from goal, but the reason you're not having the success that you need is because you need the right circle and you need the right resources. Linda, is there any way that you would have been able to do that on your own?
No, it would have been a big hurdle because first of all, I told you you had to have a certain type of loan and I didn't have that loan. So my loan, first of all, I had to be converted. And I'm saying that if I did it on my own, if I probably say you could have did it, but it was a lot of hassle. Those loopholes you had to go through and, them sending it back with having the right circle and you give me to the right person and her, her gracefulness and her knowledge and how she do it. You'd have thought it was just great. So it made it much easier. If I went through the process, I told you I was hesitant because they kept telling me, well, you got to convert. That's
my whole point though, Linda, is
right.
that we're getting bad information.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So first of all, I want to applaud you because you are in the WealthyU Society, right?
Yes.
You got access. We're bringing you all kind of knowledge so that depending on your situation, you can get access to the right knowledge. I am so grateful that you bet on you, Linda.
Yes.
And that you followed through. So I appreciate you sharing that with the ladies tonight. Again, if we could put that challenge in, if you want to spend 5 days really learning and getting the right blueprint that is going to allow you to achieve the level of success, give you access to those insider secrets, I want to make sure you join our Get Wealthy 5-day challenge so you can learn exactly what you need to do to achieve the level of financial success you desire and you deserve. Thank you so much for sharing, Linda. Again, Stephanie, I can't thank you enough. We got some superstars in WealthyU. Of course, Virginia and Anita, I see the team staffing me this evening. So appreciate all of you. And we'll see you right back here next Wednesday. Remember though, for those of you in the WealthyU community, it's strategic advisory tomorrow night. I want to make sure that you guys lean in. If you need review, if you need insight, if you need strategy, it is tomorrow night. And for those of you who have applied and qualified for the WealthyU Society, look in your email, look at your text, because you would have gotten a special invitation. And if you have not applied to WealthyU, make sure you apply so that you get an opportunity to join us inside of one of our strategic advisory sessions and actually see where the magic happens. That's going to do it for me this evening, everyone. Again, thanks so much to the team for staffing me. Everyone, you guys have a great night, and I'll see you right back here next week.